can't take that away from me.
The year was 1933. FDR was in the White House. King Kong hit the theaters, but at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, the daughter of James and Josephine Ward was being baptized. Barbara Ann Ward, a beautiful, precocious little girl who rode horses before most children could manage a tricycle. Her parents encouraged her and eventually purchased Broadacre Farms in Spring Lake, New Jersey, where Barbara trained and showed her precious horses. She also enjoyed sharing them with children who had less than she.
She'd invite kids from the orphanage to come out and go horseback riding. So I liked children and liked doing that as sort of a charity for these orphans.
In 1948 at a party, Barbara met a handsome young Edward Rollerson.
She was always a nice, soft-spoken, always beautiful, naturally beautiful. Yeah, she was one of a kind.
Over the next 5 years, the couple would juggle college, career, and a bicoastal relationship.
The reason we got to California was she was so beautiful and so accomplished at writing. She could play the piano, she played a little tennis, played a little golf, and she was invited to come out to California by some agent who wanted someone who was capable of doing various physical activities. She didn't want to come out there, but her mother liked it. Liked the idea of going to California. So she acquiesced, and there was a big picture in the local newspaper in New Jersey. Barbara Ward was being invited to go to California and make a movie, and showed a picture of her getting on the plane, all that sort of thing. She had no interest in that sort of thing. When I found out she was going to California, I figured, well, I ought to go out there too. It really got her mother upset, losing hope that she would marry some affluent New Yorker. She and I eloped and went to Vegas and got married. Boy, that really disturbed her mother too.
Just in time, I found you just in time.
Well, we eloped that summer, and then I had to go back to school. So I get a letter from her in January. She says, guess what? We're going to have an addition to our family. I said, what are you talking about? We don't have a family. I'm in school trying to get an education, and she's in California, and she tells me we're going to have a family. I thought that was a pretty alarming thing.
Then in January of 1956, Barbara's true dream came true. She became a mother. Over the next 9 years, Barbara and Ed would have 5 children: Michael, Michelle, Edward, James, and Thomas. But Barbara's health deteriorated.
I remember looking out the window of our two-story house in Brentwood, and I looked next door, and there was the doctor out there, and he had about 5 kids lined up, a couple of his and a couple of mine, all with their tongues out, like this. He was, he was seeing if they were okay and healthy. I said, Barbara has a problem. Every once in a while she walks down and she trips over the threshold of the door. And I said, I don't know why her foot keeps hitting the threshold. And he looked at me, he said, geez, I don't know, I'm a pediatrician, I don't know much about that, but it sounds like MS to me. I said, what's MS? He said, multiple sclerosis. I said, well, what's that like? He said, well, it's not very good.
Multiple sclerosis, an incurable and then unmanageable disease of the central nervous system, changed the Rollersons' lives forever.
We'd have had more if she didn't get ill, I'm sure of it. Irish Catholic family, you have children. And she loved them all. And she was a very, very good mother and worked very hard. Cause, we didn't have any money in those days, but Barbara never complained. That was remarkable. No matter how ill the circumstances were for us, she never complained. She put up with a lot after living an affluent life, and then married a guy with no money. She didn't complain. She just went around and did what had to be done. She was remarkable that way.
Barbara never returned home after the birth of Thomas, but it would be 11 long years before she succumbed to her disease.
Weekends, and take the children and drive down to see her, and they'd climb into bed next to her and talk to her, and she just was so enthused about that, so happy about that. But slowly it got so she couldn't talk and couldn't move her arms so much, and MS really took over severely for her. I just miss the fact that she was so easy to get along with. Never an argument. I don't ever remember having an argument with her. We just didn't argue. There was just no reason to. We just understood each other and we loved each other and we got along very well. She was a good mother and she loved the children loved her, and I think they learned patience and peace and quiet from her. I think she never got excited, never got angry at them. She was a very good mother. She was very calm and had a calming influence on the children. So I think that probably helped them as much as anything.
Daughter, equestrian, loving wife and mother, Barbara Ward Rollerson will live in our hearts forever.